I'm Steve. The date today is Thursday, March 26th, 2026. We are witnessing a tectonic shift in the global financial world. An economic Goliath is rising, not just to compete with the old guard, but to build an entirely new system from the ground up. This is the story of the BRICS expansion and its final challenge to the dollar.
To understand why this is happening now, you have to start with this number, $39 trillion. In our scenario, that is the U.S. national debt. Now, this isn't just about a number on a screen. It's about the foundation and the perceived vulnerability of the entire Western financial order.
And that really sets the stage for what you could call a tale of two ledgers. On one side, you have the established system, anchored by the dollar, but also by that massive debt. And on the other, you have a group of nations actively constructing a parallel system, one they intend to be based on tangible assets, not debt. For them, this is about financial self-preservation. And make no mistake, this new bloc has serious economic weight. The expanded BRICS now accounts for nearly 40% of the global economy. But the real story is here, in the resources. We're talking about control over 40% of the world's oil and a staggering 50% of its natural gas. This isn't just an economic club. It's a commodity superpower.
You see, the critical piece of this puzzle is the expansion. BRICS is no longer just 5 emerging markets. It's grown into an 11-member core, and their explicit goal is to build an economic fortress, a system that is immune to Western sanctions and what they call the weaponization of the US dollar.
So here's the new roster. You have the original 5, Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa. But look at the strategic additions: Egypt, Iran, Indonesia, and the real game changers, Saudi Arabia and the UAE. Think about that. You now have the world's biggest oil importer, China, in the same financial alliance as one of the world's top exporters, Saudi Arabia. This is a direct challenge to the petrodollar system that's been in place for decades.
So how are they going to do it? Well, it's not just about agreements and handshakes. They've built the technology. They've engineered a digital bypass around the entire dollar-based financial system. It's a project called mBridge, and it changes everything about how money moves between nations. Here's how it works. Project mBridge is a platform that lets central banks trade directly with each other using their own digital currencies. So what does that cut out? It cuts out SWIFT, the global messaging system, and it cuts out the New York correspondent banks that are needed to clear dollar trades. It creates a direct payment channel that has absolutely no reliance on the US dollar or its infrastructure.
And you need to know, this is not a theory. It's not a white paper. It's live. Over $55 billion has already been transacted across this system. It's proven, it's working, and it's scaling up.
Someone described it perfectly with this quote: "It's a digital ghost ship." Why? Because the deals happen directly between sovereign central banks and their own digital currencies. The U.S. Treasury has no visibility, it literally can't see it, it can't track it, and it can't sanction it. They've built a whole new set of financial rails.
But it goes beyond just digital payments. It's about building real things in the real world. The BRICS financial engine, the new development bank, is running on a very different philosophy. You could call it pipes, not paper.
Look at what's happening with India. The new development bank is now issuing bonds in Indian rupees. They raise capital in their own currency to fund their own infrastructure projects. The entire cycle, from funding to construction to repayment, never once requires a single US dollar. For these nations, this is how they de-risk their future from the dollar and from US policy.
And this brings us right back to that core contrast, that tale of two ledgers. On one side, you have a system focused on servicing $39 trillion in paper debt. On the other, you have a system focused on securing real assets and building the new pipes, the pipelines, the ports, the railways of the global south.
All of this, it's no longer some future scenario. This great decoupling is happening right now, and the markets are starting to price in this new multipolar reality. The game has changed. As of today, in our scenario, the S&P 500 is trading at 6,740. Now, that valuation reflects a market that's finally waking up to a new truth. The dollar's uncontested monopoly, that era is facing its first real structural challenge. The world is changing.
This is the paradigm shift laid out plain and simple. We are moving from a world with a single US dollar monopoly to a world of many different currency buckets. We're going from SWIFT dominance to direct, sovereign digital settlement, and from a system of control based on sanctions to a system of de-risked local trade.
Look, the dollar isn't going to disappear. But its time as the single, undisputed global monarch, that era is coming to an end. This BRICS expansion is the first serious coordinated challenge. And that forces a critical question for every single investor. In this new world of multiple currency buckets, what's in yours?